Visit our sponsor, Bonner & Partners, right now at cashcutoff.com. That's cashcutoff.com. Bill Bonner's research network predicted the fall of the Soviet Union, the rise of Muslim terrorism, the Japanese crash, and the financial meltdown of 2008. Now his firm Bonner & Partners has published a more dire warning. What happens in the event your ATM doesn't work, your credit card is denied? What if you can't sell your investments? Although this might sound implausible to some, it's a very real possibility. A run on cash. Think about it. How do you pay for goods and services if credit doesn't work? Who among you, your friends and family, actually have more than a few dollars in their pocket? Claim your full intelligence file right away. Get 4 research reports, plus the free book, Hormageddon, and a 12-month all-access pass to the Bill Bonner letter for just $49. It's risk-free for 60 days. Get the Great American Credit Collapse, the Crisis Money Guide, how to get your own homestead on the cheap, and much more. Click the link below right now to register at cashcutoff.com. Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green, and you're tuning in to AMTV, Alternative Media Television. Of course, Thursday, August 11, 2016. And the mainstream media has launched a full-scale frontal attack on Donald Trump. This is a war that they're waging, and it potentially might get Donald Trump killed. At the same time, the mainstream media is creating a narrative, pulling a fart out of their ass, insinuating that Donald Trump called for the assassination of Hillary Rodham Clinton based on his comments about 2 heirs at a rally. Second Amendmenters saying something along the lines that if Hillary gets in, not only, I'm paraphrasing a bit, will be continuation of Barack Obama and his treacherous, tyrannical policies, which has turned the United States into a third world country, by the way, but that somehow his reference to 2 heirs doing something by inferring that they get out to the polls and vote against Hillary Rodham Clinton, that somehow that meant, this is ridiculous, it's a comedy skit, really, that he was referencing that the 2 heirs get out and potentially, God forbid, assassinate Hillary Rodham Clinton, which would be the last thing that Donald Trump would want. It would be the last thing that he would say. But we see people like Don Lemon, for example, on CNN expose himself, the quote-unquote impartial journalist, when speaking and interviewing a gentleman, a former Secret Service agent named Bongino. Kind of a unique name. He also said it's absolutely comical, that it makes no sense at all that the leftist radical media is pulling this rabbit out of their hat because, again, they're waging a full frontal attack war against Donald Trump. In fact, I would argue that the rhetoric is so dangerous, so violent, coming from the mouths of the mainstream media, that this actually puts Donald Trump's life in danger. Not the other way around. Not Hillary Rodham Clinton, but Donald J. Trump.
Absolutely vote against the gun grabber, Hillary Clinton, 100%. And whatever you need to say within the realm of reason to motivate people to get out and vote, yes, you should do that because you will lose your Second Amendment rights.
First of all, that's a talking point to call someone a gun grabber. No one is trying to take your guns. Right. That is a talking point.
Don, you're Captain Talking Point. You're like Captain Talking Point, and then you throw it back at me. Your insults.
What's my talking point? Tell me what my talking point is, Dan.
You came into this and you said, listen, this is pretty clear. Donald Trump was implying some kind of a violent act against Mrs. Clinton, which I'm
How is that a
telling you
talking
from 12
point?
years
How
of
is that a talking
experience
point?
doing that.
How is that
Because
a
you
talking
came
point?
into
Do
this
you know what a
interview-
talking point is?
Do you
A talking
want me to
point
listen, or
is
you're
when
gonna
you
repeat
are
the
a
question
political
5 times?
operative and you go on television
Right.
every single day
I'm a
and you say the
political-
same
I'm a
thing
candidate, not an
over and
operative.
over and
I don't
over,
go out
whether
every
it's
day.
wrong or not, because
I've
you have
never
been fed
discussed this.
something
It's
by
funny,
the campaign.
I've never said this over and over. You're actually the first person to ask me about it.
People like Julian Assange, we talked about yesterday, his life is in danger. Inferring that Seth Rich, the 27-year-old DNC staffer that was murdered while he was speaking on a cell phone coming from his girlfriend's. They say he was robbed, even though they didn't take his watch, they didn't take his cell phone, they didn't take his wallet, they didn't take anything of value. That he was the leaker that got the 20,000 emails released, courtesy of WikiLeaks, the truth tellers, if they're to be believed, that brought down Debbie Wasserman.
States, the way to deal with this is pretty simple. We got special ops forces. I mean, a dead man can't leak stuff. This guy's a traitor, a treasonous, and he has broken every law of the United States. The guy ought to be, and I'm not for the death penalty, so if I'm not for the death penalty, the only one to do it, illegally shoot the son of a
People's lives are in danger. Donald Trump knows this. And see, this is what people don't understand. I support Donald J. Trump. I want him to win. I don't think he's the perfect figure. I don't think he's Jesus Christ, but I do think that he helps the pendulum swing the other direction from this radical leftist political spectrum that makes up the Bruce Gender cut your dick off society today, which has ruined us. It's why the rest of the world doesn't respect us, because the empire is failing. This is the modern day, present day fall of Rome. The engineered plot to destabilize Donald Trump through Khazar Khan, for example, which was a con job, it was a Hillary Clinton plot, has worked. That's the shame, because people are eating this shit up. If you talk to most people, they think that Donald Trump is a racist because he wants to use common sense by building a wall and preventing radical jihadi terrorists from entering the country and murdering innocent people, civilians here in the United States and potentially other countries. They think that's racist, even though it's common sense. And that's what is disheartening about all this, is because I don't want Donald Trump to lose, but I'm also going to tell you the truth when I think that he does. Because the table is rigged against him, just like he says so himself. You see, Donald Trump knows this. But here's what's important about this. I think it actually might be a good thing if Donald J. Trump loses, because he's already exposed these tyrants, this system, this bullshit for what it really is. You know, this illusion that makes up the two-party system, the right and the left, as they, go to this fictitious war with each other, even though, again, it's all illusory and there's only a single party in this country. That these giant multinational corporations that own the politicians have just really engineered this event, this divisiveness, this racial rhetoric, this war against cops, all of this stuff to just divide and conquer the population, and they don't even know it. Donald Trump isn't a genius, but I do think he's smart. He does know. He's even putting it out. I read an article on CNBC today. He even said something to the regard, if he loses, he's just going to take a long vacation. But I think it might even be more effective if Donald J. Trump loses. Because again, it's roiled the country. It's ruffled the feathers. It's exposed these tyrants for who they really are. It's why, God forbid, we might have a civil war in this country. Again, the empire is failing. People know this. The left is going to call it populism. Oh, people are just angry. Well, of course they're angry because these criminals are raping us. The criminal Federal Reserve, the banking system creating money out of thin air, is raping us. People like Hillary Clinton get away with, allegedly, literal murder. Notice how the body count just keeps going up and up and up around the Clintons. Nothing ever happens. Notice how they're exposed. She's exposed for, running her own private email servers, which, is linked directly to Benghazi Gate, the deaths of CIAs and Christopher Stevens and others, transferring guns from Libya, the murder and assassination of Muammar Gaddafi. She's already been exposed time and time again, her and her husband. The Clinton Foundation, which really is just a money laundering scam. All of this has been exposed. In fact, I think that's probably what Julian Assange still has up his sleeve. He's going to expose that as we approach the election. Even Julian Assange is alluding to his own assassination without really saying it so himself. Just go to his Twitter account, go to WikiLeaks, @WikiLeaks, and read what he's saying. People are openly calling, Fox News pundits are openly calling, have in the past, calling for his murder and assassination. A truth teller, because God forbid the truth get out. This is what Donald Trump is exposing. But the shame here is that the mainstream media, it's so powerful and people are so gullible. They really are just such stupid sheep that they're eating this shit up. They believe anything that the mainstream media says. They believe Don Lemon, the quote-unquote impartial journalist. Bongino, I thought, had really good things to say. He's actually a thinking person. I think he's running for Congress as well in Florida. He's a former Secret Service agent, just pointing out how hysterical this actually is, how radical the mainstream media truly is. They're really just pulling a rabbit out of a hat because they need to destroy Donald J. Trump right now. We're seeing this in the polls. We're seeing Hillary Clinton take a lead and then it shrink, and then Hillary Clinton take a lead and then it shrink. We saw this with the con job that made up Khazar Khan, and that was an effective form of propaganda, probably the most effective form of propaganda the Hillary campaign has run thus far, outside of this 2A shenanigans, the Second Amendment comments that they're trying to link. This is how desperate they are. They're trying to liken it to the fact that Donald Trump inferred that the 2A'ers, God forbid, assassinate Hillary Rodham Clinton when it's the last thing that he would have meant. You see, it's the radical leftists, it's the mainstream media that are the danger. These people are the ones promoting the violence, the divisive rhetoric, these divisive politics. They're the ones running this money laundering scam through the Clinton Foundation. They're the ones working for this power structure that makes up these multinational corporations that own them. You know, why isn't the mainstream media bringing any of these, questions like Hillary's health, for example? Why aren't we reading more about that in the mainstream media? The fact that she's, had a blood clot in her brain, that she wears these, super thick glasses during the Benghazi Gate hearings, even though that's probably manufactured, that she's had all this trouble in the past. They've got, Secret Service agents holding her up on a pedestal quite literally when she's speaking. You don't hear that from the mainstream media. You don't hear the mainstream media talking about the Clinton Foundation scam. You don't hear them talking about the dead body count. People like Seth Rich, this is what Julian Assange talked about in our video yesterday, that he inferring that he was the leaker that was shot in the back while on his cell phone coming from his girlfriend's residence in Washington, D.C. They are calling it a robbery. Yeah, that's right. He was robbed, even though they didn't take his watch, they didn't take his wallet, they didn't take his cell phone, they didn't take anything of value. They just killed him. People like John Ash, the former president of the UN, the United Nations, who accidentally dropped a barbell on his throat. Yeah, it was just an accident. Days before testifying against the Clintons and potentially exposing their foundation and God knows what else. Body count list just keeps piling up. At the same time, the mainstream media accuses Donald Trump of somehow encouraging violence. God forbid, potential assassination against Hillary Rodham Clinton, when in reality, the exact opposite is happening. You see, Hillary Rodham Clinton is dangerous. The mainstream media is dangerous. Don Lemon is dangerous. This system is dangerous. And this is what Donald Trump is exposing. Again, I would argue that Donald Trump losing this election, which I think is going to happen. It's not that I want that to happen, but I think it's the God to honest truth, because it's all rigged. Even Donald Trump says so himself. Might be the best darn thing that could happen to this country, because it exposes this corrupt, criminal, heinous system as it is today. And you will have an uprising in this country. The more people wake up to this, the more people realize that they're being robbed, raped, bent over by the bankster elite, by the political elite, by the criminal Federal Reserve that continues stealing from us, by the mainstream media that is telling us what to think, impregnating these very violent ideas into our mind. It's Donald Trump that's in danger, not Hillary Rodham Clinton. Hillary Rodham Clinton is the favorite of this establishment, of this political system, which is only a continuation of the same policies of Barack Obama. I'd like to hear what you think. I'm Christopher Green. You're tuning into AMTV, Alternative Media Television. Hard hitting it in your face. Get this video out everywhere. Make it viral. Put your comment, question, suggestion in the box below. Buy a t-shirt too. Support us. Support the truth. Peace.